Just one goal short on aggregate, 4-3. Atletico Madrid moves on to the final of Copa del Rey. Let's chat about this. What's your initial reaction on this match? Interesting for me. Barcelona went out. They had to go out and get it. I was interested at Diego Simeone and his tactics in this game. Played to defend, got some really good performances from his goalkeeper and from his defense, but not exactly the tactics I was expecting, to go in and defend for essentially 90 minutes.
I think when you're 4-0 up in a tie, you should be looking for that next goal to kill it, because Barcelona have every opportunity of creating chances like they did do in this game and actually scoring multiple goals. So there was a nervous moment there for Simeone, and I think a lot of people thought that Barcelona are absolutely going to equalise in this game throughout the tie and put themselves into contention to go through. They were plus 700 to advance going into this game, which tells you that not real hope, really, for Barcelona. That started to drop down. Obviously, the goal started to creep in there. And then all of a sudden, you saw the tactics from Simeone stayed. I thought he would start to attack at some point. You've got to start to realise this is old school Simeone, sitting back and defending in a tactical formation, which was probably the wrong tactic. They didn't have the players to really be able to play the way he used to play back in the day, making it frustrating. I think the early stages of the game, up until that opening goal, obviously it was a great goal from Bernal, so it was like 30 minutes. It looked okay. But Barca, it was only a matter of time before they got the opening goal. And then it was, okay, how do Atleti handle this situation? I thought, Stefano, Simeone is going to go for this, because if he gets the goal, he'll have a real chance of going through in this tie without any sweat, without any worry. But the tactical approach was very interesting. Not necessarily much. If you look at the first half statistics alone, Atleti did have 3 shots. They were all on the counter-attack and only 1 shot on target. That was his tactical approach. And let's not forget, they were 2-0 down at halftime. So in that second period, they had to change their game in some way. They did do. They changed it. They had 4 shots, still only 1 on target, but they made the big change, obviously, with Sorloth coming off the bench. I would have started Sorloth in this game. Big presence. It keeps Barcelona a little bit wary about his presence. Obviously, we saw what happened in the first leg as well. A lot of mistakes from Barcelona. They weren't at their best, but Atleti were dangerous. I actually think that this was the wrong tactical approach from Simeone, and he almost got found out by Barcelona, because Barca were good, just not good enough.
Yeah, for sure. I think the defensive substitutions as well just kind of showed you that he's going to continue this defensive style and tactics in this game. And like you said, it nearly came back to bite him. Credit to the goalkeeper for Atletico Madrid, Juan Musso, the Argentine. 6 saves. Yes, he conceded goals, but he was under pressure for the majority of this match. Credit to him as well in this match. I think it was very important. Yeah, very good, and obviously important when you're a bench player and you get your opportunity, and he deserves it, obviously, for what he did do in the first leg. He deserves his opportunity to shine, and shine he did. But let's not get carried away. Musso was excellent. He did exactly what he needed to do, but he didn't get much help from his team. He still conceded 3 goals in that game. They needed him to be up. I mean, he conceded 3 goals and had 6 wonderful saves. There wasn't one that you would say, oh my God, it's an easy save. Every single one of them were class saves from him. And I thought, realistically, he was probably the difference between Barcelona going out of this competition or Barcelona potentially going through. Simeone can thank this guy for his performance. I thought his attitude was absolutely outstanding as well. And I think he actually kept on pushing the players in front of him. When you make mistakes, obviously like Pobil did, giving away the penalty kick early on, there is a nervousness that starts to creep in. And I actually saw that from Atleti, but he showed great composure. As the goalkeeper in that type of a position, you need those match winners in these occasions. Under pressure, losing 3-0, still time left on the clock. He came up big time. Someone that did come up big, again, didn't get on the score sheet in this game because Atleti didn't score, but Antoine Griezmann, again, helping the team, doing whatever he had to do, really, coming back and helping defend. The only shot on target for Atleti was through Antoine Griezmann as well. And this is a player that has 1 foot out of the club already, for by all accounts, seeming like he will be heading to Major League Soccer after the season. But a great performance again, and he is going to be thrilled to be back in a final looking for another trophy with his favorite, with his club, obviously, that he's played with for so long. I thought he was the player of the game in the first 45 minutes for Atleti, not for, obviously, between the two teams, but just for Atleti, because he was the outlet on the counter-attack. He was the one who was safe in possession of the ball. He obviously got himself a good couple of opportunities in front of goal. He probably should have scored a goal in this game as well, Griezmann, outside of a couple of wonderful saves. Very good. I mean, obviously, his experience is so vital. When you're going into these matchups, you're in a hairy situation where the team's not performing well. You've conceded a couple. Now you need his experience to be able to rely on to push yourself forward and get through this tie somehow, some way. But I actually was intrigued by this whole approach from Atleti. They relied on the counter-attack, and he was one of the reasons why. He's not the quickest of players. It would have been lovely to have obviously watched him go on and get a goal in this game, especially against Barca, right? That would have been pretty special. But yeah, I think good performance from him. But listen, we're giving Atleti a ton of credit here,
because they went through. They lost the game 3-0.
Yeah.
They still lost the game 3-0. There's still inconsistency in this Atleti team. I think Simeone got this wrong tactically. They shouldn't have lost that game 3-0. If they score one goal, game's done. Yep. Tie's over. Yep. That's what I would have loved to have seen from Simeone and his side. And I actually think Griezmann wanted that too. The way he played in the first half was, give me the ball, let me create, counter-attack, go. But he didn't really have much help with the players around him as well. So I feel a bit sorry for Griezmann, but I feel more sorry for Barcelona because they almost went through in this tie, and I actually think they should have done.
What were your thoughts on Barcelona? Did they clearly went out to get it, win the game 3-0? That's a positive for them. Obviously, they lose the tie because they were woeful in the first leg. Was there something missing for Barcelona today for the final product, or you would say they gave it their best, being down 4 goals and just came up a goal short?
Yeah, I think Ferran Torres obviously a little disappointing in this game. First and foremost, I think when you have a striker who's replacing Lewandowski or battling and keeping Lewandowski out the team, albeit injury this time, keeping him out, it's another player who stepped up, obviously, to really be the difference maker. Now, statistically, we look at the shots on target. Bernal obviously had a couple of shots on target, got himself a couple of goals for an 18-year-old. That's what I wanted to see. But if we break down the statistics just a little bit more than what's actually on your screen right now, Barcelona, in the offensive final third of the game, had 211 accurate passes. That's in the final third of the field. If you were to compare that to what Atleti had only 33 successful passes in Barcelona's half, obviously in the final third for them going forward. Touches in the opposition box, 41 for Barcelona, 10 for Atleti. Barca just didn't take their chances, and they still scored 3 goals in this game. The shots that they had, as you just saw right there, 21 shots, 9 on target. To not score more than 3 goals, and I can't believe I'm even saying this, because you still scored 3 against Atleti. You know you've got to score 4. They should have scored 4 goals in this game. And I actually say even in the closing stages, they scored that 3rd goal in the 72nd minute in the game, thanks to Bernal, who was probably player of the match for them. I love what we've seen from Lamine Yamal as well. He's absolutely outstanding. Yet again, another assist for him. Only Michael Olise has provided more assists for him across all comps since the beginning of last season, which is truly outstanding. If you were to compare that to all the other players in world football, Vinny Jr.'s had 34 assists in the last 3 seasons, and Saka's had 32 assists in the last 3 seasons themselves. So Lamine Yamal on his own planet, maybe alongside Olise. Good performances, not great. I still wanted a bit more from Barcelona, and unfortunately for them, it was the kid who really stood up.
Today, after the match, Hansi Flick says to the media that he says, today we were brave. I'm proud of my young players. Obviously disappointed to not go through, but I'm proud of my side. Hansi Flick, what does he take from this game? He knows obviously the first leg, he needs to scrap that because it did not go well, went to get this one. What does he take from this game, and what was that team talk like in the dressing room after winning the match, coming up just a bit short? Clearly he was proud of his side.
Listen, I think we can say that Barcelona are not at their best right now. They're dealing with injuries. Obviously, players being out right now for Barcelona has not been healthy for them. Lewandowski, I thought, was a big miss. Not being able to bring him off the bench was disappointing. I understand, obviously, Gavi's mission as well. You're missing some players along the back line. Garcia, Christensen, obviously De Jong's missing. So there's a lot of quality there that's not in and around the team. So you have to rely on the youngsters. And Hansi Flick has had to do that multiple times in his tenure at the club. It's a shame he didn't get to a final because he never loses finals. But for Barcelona, I think this is a bit of a slap in the face and maybe a learning experience for how to take care of 2-legged affairs. They've got the game coming up against Newcastle. I can almost guarantee you now that they will have taken so much from that first leg against Atleti and make sure they don't make the same mistake when they play against Newcastle. I mean, these 2-legged affairs are hugely important for teams like Barcelona. Now he knows, Hansi Flick, that 3-4 goals might be too much for my team to be able to come back from. Defensively, have to be a bit more solid. Can't make mistakes like they did do in the first leg. I think there's so much to learn from, obviously, what happened. But he can be proud of his team. That was a good and spirited performance. A lot of youngsters out there who shone brightly. Obviously, Bernal will take the headlines.
That tie against Newcastle United, if they're able to get through that tie, very, very possible that in the following round of the Champions League, they'll get an Atletico Madrid side again in another 2-legged affair. You have to say, they probably could take a lot from this tie if they end up taking on Atletico Madrid yet again. And as we see here, nearly impossible, Taz. At clubs that overturn 4-goal deficit in Copa del Rey, has not happened very often, clearly.
Yeah, but is it though? It's not impossible. They showed it.
It's not impossible.
It's not impossible.
Near impossible.
I know, but 9 shots on target. If they
should have scored.
I even throw this out there. If they had Lewandowski in that game, they probably score 4 goals.
Good shot.
If they had Ferran Torres in better form, Like, what's wrong with him recently? He can't score goals frequently enough. He's not the man. He's not the answer for Barcelona, which obviously brings up a bigger problem for Barcelona fans out there. If Lewandowski's going to leave the football club or he's not going to start games, who's going to be that guy? It's not Ferran Torres. He's proved that to us. He's not that killer in front of goal. Bernal looked pretty good. I'm just going to throw it out there. He looked pretty nice.
Sure did.
But he's not the guy, right? And Barcelona need to remember this going into these big games, that you're going to start to lean on the experience maybe a little bit more than the youngsters, because the youngsters were good, but not good enough to get it done.